हेलो फ्रेंड्स, आज बॉडी फ्लूइड एंड सर्कुलेशन का पार्ट 3 है और आज ये चैप्टर कंप्लीट हो जाएगा। कार्डियक साइकिल। द कार्डियक इवेंट्स दैट अकर फ्रॉम द बिगिनिंग ऑफ वन हार्ट beat to beginning of the next are called cardiac cycle. The action potential travels rapidly through both arteria and then through the AV bundle into the wall of the ventricles because of a special arrangement of the conducting system from the arteria to the ventricles. There is a delay of more than 1/10th and second between passage of the cardiac impulse from the artery into the ventricles. This allows the artery to contract ahead of the ventricles, thereby pumping blood into the ventricles before the strong ventricular contraction begins. Thus, the arteria are the primer pumps for the ventricles, and ventricles then provide the major source of power for moving blood through the vascular system. Cardiac cycle, the process of heartbeat beginning from the time of embryonal development. Once the heartbeat starts, it continues throughout the life in inherent capacity. In resting stage of man in 1 minute, the heart beat around 72 times, and during this 1 minute, 5 liters of blood is pumped to different parts of the body through heart through left ventricle. The serial wise or sequential change which takes place in the heart are called cardiac cycle. The contraction of the arteria is termed as arterial systole and their relaxation is called arterial diastole. Same way of the contraction and relaxation of ventricles is termed as the ventricular systole and ventricular diastole. The time of the cardiac cycle is the reverse ratio of heartbeat per minute. Each heartbeat per minute is 72. Then the time of cardiac cycle is 60 by 72 is equal to 0.8 seconds. Cardiac events. Arteria ventricles. Joint diastole 0.8 to 0.4 is equal minus 0 is equal to 0.4 second. Period during which entire heart is in diastole. In a single cardiac cycle of man, arterial systole 0.1 second, arterial diastole 0.7 second. Arterial systole 0.1 second. Arterial systole 0.1 second, arterial diastole 0.7 second, and ventricular systole 0.3 second and ventricular diastole 0.5 second. Following events are related to the cardiac cycle: outer circle arteria, inner circle ventricles. Outer arteria or inner ventricles. Common diagram segments both artery and ventricles. Events of both auricles and ventricles. Ventricular systole. It is an important process because during it the blood is pumped out of the heart into the arteries. It has main parts. Number A. Isometric contraction. Walls of the ventricles start contracting, due to which pressure is more in the ventricles. Due to the increase of this pressure, the cuspid valves close, producing love sound. Number B. Period of ejection. During this cycle, when pressure increases in the ventricles, then the semilunar valves of the arcs open and blood rapidly enters into the arcs, pushing the valves on one side. Oxygenated blood from the left ventricle enter into the carotidocystemic arc of aorta, and deoxygenated blood from the right ventricle enter into the pulmonary arc. During ventricular systole, the auricles receive blood from the veins. Number 2. Ventricular diastole. Ventricles are start relaxing now, due to which pressure inside them falls further. As a result of this, closure of semilunar valves occurs, due to which dub sound is heard at the onset of ventricular diastole. Ventricular diastole has sub-stage. Number A. Isometric relaxation. When due to blood ejection, the pressure inside the ventricles decrease as compared to the pressure inside the arcs. The blood stops moving out and the ventricles prepare for relaxation. Number B. Rapid inflow. After the systole in the ventricles, the systolic pressure reduces very much. This pressure becomes very less than the arterial pressure. Moreover, due to relaxation in ventricles, the pressure inside then falls further. So now the cuspid valves open up and blood flows rapidly from the artery to the ventricles. As the heart sound is produced. Diastasis. After rapid inflow, the artery transfer the blood to the ventricles at the same rate at which they receive blood from the veins. So the inflow of blood reduces considerably. At this moment, pressure inside all four chambers is equal and entire heart is in diastole. Also, at this moment of this time, the AV valves are open but semilunar valves are closed. Number third, arterial systole. Due to contraction in the arterial is remaining, blood comes into the ventricle, so the arterial pressure now becomes zero as heart sound is produced. Number 4, arterial diastole. Arteria start relaxing now due to the presence of almost zero pressure in the arteria. During diastole, the auricles start receiving further blood from the veins. Volume of blood related with cardiac cycle. During diastole, filling of the ventricles normally increase the volume of each ventricle to about 120 milliliters. This volume is known as in-diastolic volume. Then as the ventricles empty during systole, the volume decreases by about 70 milliliters, which is called the stroke volume. For example, the volume of the blood pumped by each ventricle is the aorta in one stroke or beat. The remaining volume in each ventricle is now about 50 milliliters is called end systolic volume. The fraction of the end diastolic volume which is ejected out is called the ejection volume, usually around 60% or 7/12. Ejection fraction is equal to SV by EDV. Cardiac output is the amount of blood pumped by the each ventricle per minute. Its value is a normal adult in about 5 liters per minute. Cardiac output is equal to stroke volume into heart rate. In diastolic volume 120 ml, in systolic volume 50 ml. Stroke volume is equal to in diastolic volume minus in systolic volume is equal to 70 ml approx. Cardiac output, stroke volume into heart rate. Heart sound. During each cardiac cycle, two prominent sounds are produced. These love and dub. Sound of the heart can be heard with the help of an instrument called a stethoscope, invented by Lenz. Number first, heart sound. Love. Dull, prolonged 0.15 second at the beginning of ventricular systole caused by closure of AV valves. Dub, second heart sound. Sharp, shorter time, high pitch 0.1 second at the beginning of ventricular diastole caused by closure of semilunar valve. Defective heart sound due to defects in heart valves and called murmur. Electrocardiograph ECG. You are probably familiar with this sense from a typical hospital television. So a patient is hooked up to a monitoring machine that shows voltage traces on a screen and makes the sound pip 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 as the patient goes into cardiac arrest. This type of machine, electrocardiograph, is used to obtain the electrocardiogram ECG. ECG is a graphic representation of the electrical activity of the heart during a cardiac cycle. To obtain a standard ECG, as shown in the figure, a patient is connected to the machine with these electrical leads, one to each wrist and to the left ankle. This continuously monitor the heart activity. For a detailed evaluation of the heart's function, multiple leads are attached to the chest region. Here we will talk only about a standard ECG. Each peak in the ECG is identified with a letter from P to T that corresponds to the specific electric activity of the heart. Number first, the P wave represents the electrical excitation or depolarization of the atria, which lead to the contraction of both the atria. Number second, the QRS complex represents the depolarization of the ventricles, which initiates the ventricular contraction. The contraction starts shortly after Q and marks the beginning of the systole. Number third, the T wave represents the return to the ventricles from excited to normal state repolarization. The end of the T wave makes the end of systole. Obviously, by counting the numbers of QRS complexes that occur in a given time period, one can determine the heartbeat rate of individuals. Since the ECG obtains from different individuals have roughly the same shape for a given lead configuration, any deviation from this shape indicates a possible anomaly or disease. Hence, it is of a great clinical significance. Blood pressure. Blood pressure is the pressure exerted by the flowing blood and on the elastic wall of arteries. Blood pressure is measured in two stages. Number first, systolic pressure, pumping pressure. It is the higher limit of blood pressure that shows the state of heart systole contraction for men. This limit is 120 mmHg normal. Diastolic pressure, resting pressure. It is the lower limit of blood pressure that shows the state of heart relaxation. Expansion is equal to diastole. For men, this limit is 80 mmHg normal. The instrument by which we can measure BP is called sphygmomanometer. In men, BP is measured in the brachial artery of arm or in radial artery. Normal BP of healthy person is 120 by 80 mmHg. Age BP increase as the age advantage. Pulse. The pulse it is felt in the radial artery present in the wrist of a man. It is also felt in the artery of neck region. The graph of pulse of artery is marked by an instrument that is called sphygmograph. Pulse pressure is the pressure difference which generates a pulse. This is systolic minus diastolic BP. Disorders related to the circulatory system. Number first, hypertension. It is also called high blood pressure. Hypertension or high blood pressure is the occurrence of persistent systolic arterial pressure of more than 140 mmHg and diastolic arterial pressure of more than 90 mmHg. Hypertension is of two types, primary and secondary. High blood pressure must be managed. Excessive high blood pressure, say 220 by 120 mmHg, is dangerous as it may cause hemorrhages in different parts of body, causing blindness due to optic arteries, nephritis, renal artery, brain stroke or severe cerebrovascular accident due to rupturing of cerebral artery. Hypotension. It is also called low blood pressure. Hypotension or low blood pressure is the occurrence of persistent systolic arterial pressure of less than 110 mmHg and diastolic arterial pressure of less than 70 mmHg. It is caused by persistent vasodilation of arterioles, reduced ventricular pumping, valvular defects, anemia, and deficient diet. Number third, varicose veins. On prolonged standing or due to defect in the valves of the veins of the legs, these veins may become dilated, arterious, and thickened. Most commonly affected is the sphenous vein. Such veins become clearly visible and prominent. Treatment is surgical removal of such veins. Atherosclerosis, arteriosclerosis. Number first, deposition of lipid cholesterol on the wall. Such deposition are called atheromatous plaque. Number second, takes place in lumen of large and medium sized arteries of body. Number third, plaques are formed due to proliferation of smooth muscles of the inner wall of arteries due to platelet derived growth factors. Number four, narrowing of artery. Number five, artery lumen may get blocked, resulting in no blood supply. Arteriosclerosis, hardening of arterioles due to thickening along with deposition of calcium salts with cholesterol, can take place in medium to small arteries of limbs. No plaque formation occurs, but the arteries are stiff and rigid due to calcification. Hardening of artery becomes hard, lose its capacity of distension, and may rupture. Heart failure. Heart failure means the state of heart when it is not pumping blood effectively enough to meet the needs of the body. It is sometimes called congestive heart failure because congestion of the lungs is one of the main symptoms of this disease. Heart failure is not the same as cardiac arrest. When the heart stops breathing or a heart attack, when the heart muscles is suddenly damaged by an inadequate blood supply. Heart block, when every node gets damaged so contraction do not reach up to ventricles, this event is called heart attack. Disorder of circulatory system. High blood pressure, hypertension, blood pressure that is higher than normal, 140 by 90. Blood pressure exerted by blood on walls of arteries. Systolic pumping pressure, higher limit during systole 120 mm of Hg, lower limit during diastole 80 mm Hg. Normal BP adult 120 by 80. Instrument sphygmomanometer, branchial radial artery. Coronary artery disease, atherosclerosis of coronary artery. Atherosclerosis, cholesterol, calcium, fat, fibers, tissue deposit in lumen, narrow of artery. Arteriosclerosis, calcium deposition in wall, hardening of artery. Number third, angina pectoris, acute chest pain where no enough oxygen is reaching the heart muscle, more common among the middle aged and elderly. Number four, myocardial infarction या heart attack, sudden death of heart muscle due to inadequate blood supply. Cardiac arrest, heart stop beating. Heart failure, heart not pumping blood effectively to meet the need of the body. Blood vessels. In closed type of blood vascular system, blood vessels are of three types: arteries, veins, capillaries. Anatomy of arteries and veins. Normally there are three layers are found in the walls of blood vessels. Number first, tunica externa. It is the outermost layer. It is formed of loose connective tissue in which many collagen fibers, elastin fibers, and longitudinal muscles are found. Number Second, tunica media. It is a thick layer of circular, non-striated muscles and a network of elastin fibers. Number third, tunica interna. This layer is made up of squamous epithelium. It is also known as endothelium. Walls of arteries are thick and more muscular, and these walls are elastic and non-collapsible. The walls of veins are thin, less muscular, non-elastic, and collapsible. In the walls of blood capillary, only endothelium layer is found. It's called are flat and squamous. Their walls are perforated. These blood capillaries join the arteries with the veins. Main difference in arteries and veins. Artery, capillary vein. Difference between artery and vein. Artery, number first. It carries blood from the heart to the organ. Vein, it carries blood from organ to the heart. Artery, all the arteries carry pure blood except pulmonary artery which carries impure blood. Vein, all the veins carry impure blood except pulmonary vein which carry pure blood. Number third, artery, blood flow with a higher pressure and speed. Number third, vein, in the vein blood flows with a low pressure and speed. Number four, arteries are deeply situated in the body. Veins are superficial just below the skin. Artery, their lumen is constricted. Vein, their lumen is wide. Artery valves are absent in the wall of arteries. Vein, walls of veins contain valves. Artery, these are pinkish or bright red in color. Vein, these are deep red or bluish in color. Number 8, artery, their tunica media layer is much thicker as compared to veins. Number 8, veins, their tunica media layer of wall is thinner as compared to arteries. Portal system. When the vein of any organ of the body does not open in the caval vein or heart but it divides into capillaries in any other organ and its blood is transported by vein of the other organ to the heart, then this type of system is termed as portal system. It is flowing types. Number first, renal portal system. Number second, hepatic portal system. Number third, hypophyseal portal system. Number first, renal portal system. Vein each collect blood from posterior part of the body and legs combine to form a renal portal vein. This vein goes into kidney and divide into capillaries. Kidney separate nitrogenous waste from this blood. In mammals, renal portal system is absent. In frog, both the portal system, renal portal system and hepatic portal system are present. Hepatic portal system. It is a portal system which brings venous blood directly from digestive tract, spleen, pancreas and gallbladder to liver for extraction of nutrients and other metabolites by breaking up into single called thick capillaries and sinusoid. Hypophyseal portal system. It is portal system formed by a vein from hypothalamus which break up into capillaries and in ant. Lobe of pituitary gland, adenohypophysis. The vein is called hypophyseal portal vein. Hypothalamus produces a number of hormones for controlling endocrine activity of adenohypophysis. Lymphatic system. Lymphatic circulatory system. It is comprised by flowing parts: lymph, lymph vessels, lymph nodes. Number first, lymphs. Blood minus RBC plus platelets or plasma plus WBC. Number first, lymph is a colorless fluid containing specialized lymphocytes which is present in the lymphatic system is called the lymph. Number second, as the blood passes through the capillaries in tissue, some water along the many small water soluble substance move out into the space between the cells of tissue, leaving the larger protein and most of the foreign elements in the blood vessels. This fluid is called the interstitial fluid or tissue fluid. Number third, it has the same mineral distribution as that in plasma. Exchange of nutrients, gases, etc. between the blood and the cells always occur through this fluid. Number 4, an elaborate network of vessels called the lymphatic system collects this fluid and drains it back to the major veins, which are responsible for the immune response of the body. Lymph is also an important carrier for nutrients, hormone, etc. Fats are absorbed through lymph in the lacteals present in the interstitial villi. Blood and lymph. Difference between blood and lymph. Blood, it forms circulatory system. Number 2, RBC present. Number 3, neutrophils more. Number 4, soluble proteins in large amount but insoluble protein in a small amount. Number 5, O2 and nutrients are in large amount but CO2 very less. Number 6, it is of red color. Number 4, more WBC. Number 8, clotting times less. Lymph, it forms lymphatic system. Number 2, RBC upset. Number 3, lymphocytes in largest amount. Number 4, soluble protein in a small amount but insoluble protein in large amount. Number 5th, O2 and nutrients in a small amount, CO2 in large amount. Number 6, it is colorless just like water. Number 7, laser WBC. Number 8, clotting time comparatively more. Spleen. Spleen is known to be the largest lymph node of body. It is the blood bank of the body. Spleen is also called graveyard or of RBC. Spleen originates from embryonal mesoderm. Spleen is red colored lymph node. It is found attached by mesentery to the lateral side of stomach. Function of spleen. Number first, its macrophage engulf of phagocytase and destroy were not blood cells, pathogen cells, debris, etc. Number second, in the embryonal stage, it produces RBC. Number third, some antibodies are synthesized here. Number four, spleen store iron. Number fifth, spleen plus liver plus kidney. These three are called blood filter apparatus of blood. Number 6, spleen plus liver minus RBC filtering apparatus.